The story begins with some school goons criticizing modern webtoons, how they all are the same. Some losers plus getting stronger because they used to get bullied. They mention how there was no school violence or bullies now, but they were keeping Soo-hyun and Kim on watch while they smoke, and then they start choking him for fun. After they were gone, Soo-hyun thinks to himself how no matter how much he screams, no one would help him. He wishes to have the quest window like in the webtoons so he could end his misery. He desperately screams for the quest window again and again, but as he had already known, it wasn't a video game but real life. But much to his surprise, a quest window pops up in front of him, asking him if he would like to begin the quest. During the class, he thinks he was dreaming or hallucinating, so he kept turning the window on and off during the whole class until he was sure that it was real. He wonders what would happen if he accepts the request and chooses yes, but he pokes one of his classmates, Sharon Beck. He knew he messed up badly. He tries to explain to her, but she calls him a creep and slaps him. After that, she told him to buy her snacks with his own money. This is what kind of guy he was, too afraid to speak out. As he was going for the snacks, the bully from earlier punches him. He told Soo-hyun that he was just having fun, not actually bullying him or anything. Soo-hyun tries to speak up, but seeing his scary eyes, he apologizes instead for raising his head. The only person he could lash out at was his mother. He asked her to let him drop out of school and let him become a YouTuber. His sister, Da-hyun, mocks him for wanting to be a YouTuber as if it was a viral hit. No matter how much he yells, his mother was obviously not going to let him drop out. In anger, he goes to his room and thinks of himself as a pathetic guy. Now that he was alone, he opens up the quest window. Having no other choice, he accepts the quest. While the quest was being made, he finds out about the rewards. He would get 1 gold card for the first quest. He could also get some additional bronze or silver level cards as well. The first quest was to apologize to his mother. He immediately tests out if the quest window was legit by apologizing to his mother. His sister thinks he had lost his mind seeing him apologize out of nowhere. He gets back to his room and waits for the reward. All he needs to do was to say claim reward, and he would get his reward. He wonders if he could sell the golden card in the market and claims it. A gold card appears in front of him. If he uses this card, he would grow taller by 1.2 inches. He was still skeptical if it would work and used it. He excitingly told his mother that he had gotten taller while annoying his sister, who thinks he was lying. He was glad that he apologized to his mother. His mother also apologized to him. At school, he couldn't contain how happy he was. He couldn't believe he actually got taller. Others noticed this as well, that he had gotten taller. He immediately goes on to the next quest, and if he completes this quest, he would get 1 gold card and 1 silver card. He thinks to himself how simple the quests were. He bumps into Sharon Beck again, and he also got his next quest at the same time, which was to kiss her. He was just stunned at how ridiculous that was. How would he ever be able to kill Sharon, who is always mean to him? She was about to hit him, but she remembers there were some guys who liked being hit by her. She doesn't hit him and worked away. He tries to abandon the quest, thinking he would take the next quest, but the system informs him that if he abandons the quest, he would lose the quest window and all the rewards would be forfeited as well. And he had to do it before the school ends as well. He lashes out at the system for giving him a ridiculous quest like this. Other students think he was a creep seeing him talking to him, but he was not gonna give up that easily. He was determined to complete the quest, but when he comes inside the class, he starts panicking. If he tried to force her for a kiss, she would kill her. While he was mumbling about getting the kiss, someone next to him hears him and agrees to kiss him. It was Kuja, Soo-hyun's one and only friend, and talks about everything with gravitas. He was all bruised up from getting beaten up by the bullies. He told him that he might get a kiss if he asks the girl nicely, but Soo-hyun knows that there was no way that would work. During the gym class, there was no one in the class except Sharon and Soo-hyun. Sharon asks him why he was not in the gym and if he was watching her sleep. He told him to get her a drink, but he had already got her a drink. He was determined to try to make a move. If somehow they managed to go on a date, there was a chance that he could get the kiss from her. He takes away the drink from her and starts to drink it himself. Then he asks her if she had ever kissed someone. She was annoyed by this and threatens to send him to jail. He tries to explain that he was just kidding, but the bullies record him saying that. Soo-young knew he had messed up badly. They start mocking him for having a crush on Sharon of all people. He tries to make them delete the video, but they start beating him instead. they still think they were just having some fun. Sharon stops Koidong from beating him even more and asks them to delete the video too. They obey her order and leave. They had never recorded the video in the first place. Sharon told Soo-hyun to just go home. He comes home early and laments over his failure. If he had abandoned the quest, at least he wouldn't have got beaten up by them. He was happy to live at least one day as a tall person. Just then, a notification pops up, informing him that the quest was completed. At the school, Sharing drank with the same straw that Soo-hyun did. He gets 1 gold card and 1 silver card, and claims both at once. This time as well, the reward was amazing. The gold card restores his eyesight. Now he could see clearly without his glasses. Then he moves on to the silver card and was shocked to see how he got something like that in a silver card. He excitingly goes to tell his mother about it, but his sister shuts him up and told him that their mother was out. While eating dinner, he told her that his eyesight was back, but she didn't believe him. She sees his bruised face and told him not to talk to her in the school if he sees her, because he was embarrassing. The next day at school, Choindong was beating him because he had the balls to come to the school after what happened the day before. After he was done beating him, he told him to meet them after lunch. Kuja apologizes to him for not helping him. They have made a rule not to get involved when the other person is getting beaten up. During lunch, Soo-hyun goes to them and apologizes to them, even though they were the ones beating him. Koidong throws his cigarette and asked him to fetch it. While he was doing that, Dahyun sees him and asked him what he was doing. He didn't know what to say when Koidong comes in and asked him who she was. He told him that they were siblings. Koidong told her that he was just picking up the cigarette butt because he didn't want the teachers to find out, that's all. They left before she could ask them any more questions. In the bathroom, Koidong asks Soo-hyun why he didn't tell him that had a younger sister. He told him how they were not that close and she had told him not to talk to her in school. Koidong asked him to introduce him to her sister. Soo-hyun tries to explain how she sucks and wasn't good at studying as well. But Koidong told him that the reason he wanted to date her was because she would be a good lay. Kuja, who was already in there, appears suddenly and told him that he was going too far. Koidong starts beating him while Soo-hyun was just standing there, stunned. While Koidong was beating Kuja, Soo-hyun curses him. Koidong couldn't believe he could say something like that to him, so he curses him again. In anger, Koidong attacks him, but before his attack could reach him, Soo-hyun throws a jab to his face. Last night, the silver card that he had gotten was an attack card. This would allow him to throw a jab, but he didn't know what he was going to do with that skill because he never fights back. But that changes now. He was not going to hear him talking shit about her sister. The new quest arrives. He had to defeat Kuja, and if he manages to defeat him, he would get 1 silver card and 1 bronze card. Koidong mocks him for acting brave and finds this situation interesting. While he was mocking him, Soo-hyun throws another jab which he couldn't dodge. Koidong was baffled to see him throw perfect jabs and wondered if he was taking boxing classes all this time. Koidong tries to fight back, but there was no opening. Soo-hyun was continuously throwing jabs at him and finally knocks him down. He receives his reward, and his jab skill also increases. Kuja takes him with him, and they both run away before anyone sees them. But they both know that the school must be in chaos right now, and everyone must be looking for them. While they were hiding, Soo-hyun checks out the rewards that he got and was shocked. Just then, Sharing comes there and asks them what they did that the whole school was looking for them. He tries to explain what he did, but she told him that she would pretend not to see him and suggests he goes home. But they got caught almost immediately. The other bullies couldn't believe that Koidong would lose to a loser like him. Soo-hyun wanted to get this over with before that guy shows up. The beast who beat all of the seniors the day he transferred to the school. The top dog of West Gangbuk High, Han Jin-gu, who has said to be never lost in a fight. But that's exactly what happened. Han Jin-gu showed up. One of the guys starts telling him casually what was going on. Han Jin stares at him and he freezes and apologizes to him. He directly asks Soo-hyun if he hit Koidong. Soo-hyun agrees with him but mentions that it was Koidong who insulted his family first. But Han-jin didn't care about that. He asks Soo-hyun to hit him as well. Soo-hye was baffled and tries to explain that he was not good at boxing. But Han-jin threatens to hit him if he doesn't hit him first. Han-jin promises to let this slide if he manages to land on hit-on. At first, he was hesitant as he knew that ultimately he would be the one getting beaten up. But then he remembers the cards he received from the last quest. The silver card provided a healing bean that would restore his stamina, but he could use that only once a day. The golden card provides hit those high note skills, but that ability wasn't so great for this situation. But even if he manages to restore his stamina, Would that change anything? While he was thinking all this, Hanjin was getting impatient. Suhyun figures he was gonna get beaten up anyway, might as well go down while fighting. He suddenly throws a jab which he dodges easily. Suhyun attacks him continuously, which he keeps dodging without breaking a sweat, and when Hanjin hits him back, he passes out in just one punch. When he comes to his senses, he realizes he had screwed up badly. There was no way Hanjin was going to let him after he tried to hit him of all people. He was protecting his head while thinking if he was going to feed his remains to his dogs. Hanjin asks him what he was doing, to which he replies that he was waiting for him to hit him, but instead of beating him, he invites him for a smoke. Suhyun didn't know what was going on or why he invited him. Hanjin even offers him a smoke, but he denies it. All this time Suhyun was thinking that he took him here so that he could beat him without any resistance. He says to himself that he was the worst, just like the other students had told him. But Hanjin apologizes to him for hitting him. He kicked him out of reflex because he was better than he had thought him to be. He even compliments him, saying he had the potential to become a good boxer. Back at his apartment, Suhyun was wondering what was wrong with Hanjin and why he was talking to him so politely. He was afraid that he would get beaten up by him the next day and blamed the system for all this. Then he wonders who was the one who was assigning him these quests anyways. On top of that, these were just tutorial quests. The main game was yet to start. He also deduces that all the cards he had got were somehow connected to fighting. The next day, Kuja and Suhyun were waiting for Hanjin to come and beat the hell out of them, but the one who came was Koidong. Suhyun was ready to fight him, but he was not here to fight. He told him that Hanjin had asked him to meet him after school and left after delivering this message. Kuja suggests he should go there or he would get beaten even worse the next day. After school, when he goes to the designated addresses where he was told to go, he finds Hanjin and a bunch of more students from his class. The most popular girls from his school were also there. They were wondering who was this guy. Just then, Sharon also comes there and was surprised to see him there. The other guys pressure him to sing a song for them. Suhyun was worried he would kill the mood if he didn't sing and starts singing. He uses his ability high notes and surprises everyone with those high notes of his. They had never expected a nerd like him to sing this well, and after that, they made him sing some more. Now Suhyun was sure that he was not gonna get hit. He was even friendly with Hanjin himself. The others call him the only friend that Hanjin had ever brought with him. The next day was the first time Suhyun was excited to go to school. He was not afraid of anyone anymore because Hanjin was on his side. He meets Hanjin on the way and they head in together. Just then, the first main quest starts, and if he manages to complete this quest, he would get one platinum card, which was one step above even a gold card. He was excited to have his first platinum card, but the quest was to fight and defeat Hanjin Gu in the next 3 days. He was stunned to see that. During lunch, Suhyun was still dazed. Kuja asks him why Hanjin was eating with them. After Hanjin leaves, Suhyun thinks to himself that there was no way he was going to fight Hanjin when he was being this nice to him. Just then he realizes that he didn't have to fight him. He has Hanjin on his side, and now his school life would be a breeze. If he were to fight Hanjin and lost, he would lose his reward as well as Hanjin. When he arrives at their base, he sees Hanjin beating Koidong. He didn't know why he was doing that. Sharon comes there and made him realize that he was wrong for thinking Hanjin was a nice guy. He was beating Koidong because he didn't collect enough money from the students. He makes the other bullies do the dirty job, and the money goes into his pocket. She wants him not to forget what kind of person he was just because he was being nice to him. Hanjin sees Suhyun and greets him cheerfully. Suhyun asks him while stuttering why he was being nice to him, to which he replies that it was simple. It was because unlike others he was strong. Suhyun realizes that if he abandons the quest, he would lose his jabbing ability. And if Hanjin finds out he was not strong anymore, his life would get back to the way it was. He had no choice but to fight Hanjin. Hanjin asks him why he was crying all of a sudden. He just felt like crying all of a sudden, that's all. He starts training for his match with Hanjin. He evaluates all the weapons that were in his arsenal. But even after all of those combined, he would have no chance against Hanjin. As he was thinking all of this, some middle schoolers come there and ask him for money, saying they forgot their wallet and didn't have money for their bus. When Suhyun says he didn't have his wallet on him right now as well, those guys start showing their true colors. They start threatening him for the money, and when he doesn't give him money, the leader of the gang attacks him. But Suhyun throws a jab out of reflex. His jab throwing skill levels up, and now it was on level E. Obviously, the guy was now even more furious and attacked him again. But before his attack could reach him, Soo-hyun throws one more jab again. He could feel that his punches were stronger now. Just then, a side quest pop-ups. He had to defeat all 5 of them, and he would get 1 silver card as a reward. And there was a hidden condition also. But unlike the main quest, he could abandon the side quests. He obviously was gonna abandon this, but before he could do that, the rest of them rushed towards him to attack him. Even though he was terrified, he decides to fight them, but he wasn't confident that he could really defeat all 5 of them. The leader of the group attacks him again, but Soo-hyun throws his jab before him. Just in one punch to the chin, the guy was on the floor, unconscious. He realizes that all he needed to do was to hit them in the chin, and he would be able to win. But there were still 4 of them. Instead of fighting them head-on, he runs away instead. He needed to find some place where he could fight them one-on-one. He stops inside a cramped alley where he could fight them one at a time. They also realized that he could only throw jabs and think they could take him out easily. Due to all the running, Soo-hyun was out of stamina, so he uses the stamina beans to recover. The vice leader of the group attacks him, but Soo-hyun was now so used to throwing his jabs that he took him down before he could even react. He could use them however he wanted, and now he had a chance against Hanjin. The rest of the guys were shocked, but they still attacked him. But they also met the same fate. He took all of them down one by one. The system congratulates him on completing the side quest. Not only that, he also fulfilled the hidden condition, which was not to get hit a single time, and for that, he receives a gold card. Soo-hyun was so thrilled that he got 1 free gold card almost for free, and he was shocked and confused to see what he found after claiming the gold card. It had already been 3 days since the quest started. Now he had only 8 hours left to defeat Hanjin. He had 4 cards against him: the Errank Chab, the Healing Bean, the Hit Those High Notes, and the new gold card. He wonders if he had any chance against someone who apparently never lost a fight. But he had to win no matter what. Not for just him, but for Kuja as well. Soo-hyun thanks Kuja for always taking his side and getting beaten up in his stead. Kuja could tell it was about Hanjin-gu. Just then, Hanjin comes there and asks him to go to the snack shop with him. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun was looking for any excuse to fight him. One of his classmates bumps into Hanjin, so Hanjin starts beating him non-stop. Soo-hyun intervenes and stops him by calling him a son of a bitch. He didn't care anymore and was determined to defeat him no matter what. Soo-hyun goes on to insult him even more, but instead of fighting him, Hanjin compliments him for being loyal to his classmates. The word of him challenging Hanjin to a fight spread like wildfire. Everyone was wondering how Soo-hyun was still alive after picking a fight with Hanjin himself. Kuja asks him again what was bothering him, to which he replies that it was Hanjin. Kuja figures he must be bullying Soo-hyun. Sharon also comes there and mocks him for standing up for his classmate. Soo-hyun asks her why she hangs out with those bullies, because she was the one who helped a few times, and she didn't even bully anyone. To which she replies that it was safer this way. But she immediately gets angry at him for getting all personal with her like they were friends or something. Just then, one of his classmates gives him news that shocked him. It was Kuja, who was at the Hanjin's base and wanted to see him. The other students make fun of him for thinking he could meet Hanjin just like that. They recognize he was the guy who was hanging out with Soo-hyun. As they were about to hit him, Hanjin comes there and asks him why he was looking for him, to which he replies that he should stop harassing Soo-hyun and that he was forcing him to hang out with him just because he was strong. Just by listening to that, Hanjin gets furious and punches him so hard that Kuja was on the ground. Then he says to him that Soo-hyun and he were friends, and that he should stop clinging to him instead, as he was making him sink to his level. He was saying all that while beating him continuously. Kuja replies to him saying that if he considers him a friend just because he was strong, then Soo-hyun probably doesn't consider him a friend. Suddenly, Soo-hyun comes out of nowhere and throws a jab at Hanjin, which he directly receives to his face. Hanjin and the others were shocked to see him. It was thanks to Kuja that Soo-hyun managed to survive school for this long, otherwise, he would have given up long ago. The news of Hanjin and Soo-hyun fighting was all over the school now, and everyone started to gather. Obviously, everyone was thinking this wouldn't even be a fight. It would be one-side slaughter, and Soo-hyun would get owned. Hanjin asked him if he really wanted to fight him, even though they were friends. Soo-hyun informs him that the only friend he has in this entire school was Kuja, no one else. Soo-hyun was ready to fight and was confident that he would defeat him with his new card. He was so confident that he says he would defeat him in 5 seconds. No one believed him, and the other bullies made fun of him instead. Soo-hyun throws a jab again, which he easily dodges, and informs him that the 5 seconds were already over. Soo-hyun throws many jabs continuously, but they all were dodged easily by Hanjin. The others were amazed to see Soo-hyun being this good at boxing, and seeing Hanjin, who was just dodging his attack, they think that he might win at this rate. But Koidong realizes that something was off with Soo-hyun. He figures out that he only knows how to throw jabs. Just when Soo-hyun stopped to catch a breath, Hanjin launches a strong punch to his gut, and Soo-hyun was on the ground. Soo-hyun tries to get up while saying all he needed was 5 seconds to defeat him. Hanjin punches him again, calling out how ridiculous it was for him to think that he could take him down with just throwing jabs. Last night, Soo-hyun was wondering if he could beat Hanjin with just his jabs. The answer was obviously no. Even though his jabs had gotten stronger, there was no way he could defeat him with just that. He had no choice but to rely on his newly acquired card, the attack card. With this card, he could exert maximum capacity for 5 seconds. He could use it only once a day. In order to use this on Hanjin, first he had to lure him into a false sense of security. He keeps rushing towards him to attack him but gets beaten by Hanjin every time. He uses everything he could to keep going until he starts getting sloppy. He even uses hit those high notes, but gets destroyed every time. Hanjin had stopped taking him seriously at this point. Soo-hyun's plan worked and he managed to get close to him. He uses his healing bean to restore his stamina. Hanjin got annoyed and started swearing. His lackeys knew it meant he was going to go all out now, and they tried to stop him, but Soo-hyun wasn't letting him go. Then finally, he uses maximum capacity card to lift him up with all his force and then slams him on the ground with all his might. No one could believe their eyes. He was not done just yet. He punches him with all might of the 344 pounds weight behind it. Hanjin couldn't believe the power behind his punches. Soo-hyun continuously punches him with all his strength, and before his maximum capacity reaches its limit, Hanjin accepts his defeat. They both were on the ground. The shock on everyone's faces was visible. Never in a million years they could have guessed this outcome. He gets his first platinum card and claims it immediately.
We see two guys talking with each other at school. One of them notices Ha-juin's table, which is empty. He says that Ha-juin did not come to school today either, as if he hasn't come to school for several days. The other guy replies that if he were Ha-juin, would he dare to come to school after what happened? He got kicked in front of the entire school. The first guy hopes Ha-juin never shows up again because he feels like he can finally breathe without him around. They then talk about the fight between Ha-juin and Soo-hyun. No one thought Ha-juin would lose that fight, but the older Soo-hyun won. Suddenly, one guy opens the classroom door and loudly tells everyone to be quiet because Soo-hyun is passing through. Another guy asks who that was, and he replies that it was Soo-hyun. After beating Ha-juin, he became the school's top dog. Many guys gossip about Soo-hyun, which makes Soo-hyun nervous, thinking, how did things turn out like this? He then goes to the toilet, sits on a seat, and in his hand is a platinum card, which he achieved by beating Ha-juin-gu. Soo-hyun thinks that after going through all that crap, he finally got the platinum card, which is one level above a gold card. Soo-hyun then says, claim card, and the card is claimed. Soo-hyun is excited about how amazing the card could be. A light blinks, and a new card appears in front of him, but it's a normal card named Peek at You. Through this card, Soo-hyun can take a peek at another person. Soo-hyun thinks it's not an attack card and wishes it were something better than a jab. Suddenly, from outside, Kuja asks what he is murmuring about in there. Soo-hyun comes out and replies that it's nothing. Kuja says they should go outside. Soo-hyun is ready for the upcoming consequences. As they pass through the hallway, many guys watch them and gossip about Soo-hyun, giving bad comments. Some call him a psychopath. There are many rumors about Soo-hyun getting out of control. People also comment about Kuja, saying he is so old and the son of a yakuza. Kuja is Soo-hyun's right hand. Soo-hyun thinks he needs to tell everyone it's all a misunderstanding. Soo-hyun walks straight, and suddenly his head collides with someone. He looks up and sees a tattooed man with two other dangerous guys. At first, Soo-hyun is confused about why they suddenly appeared, but then the tattooed man and the others bow in front of Soo-hyun and introduce themselves as the first-year top dog, Hyundong Lee. Seeing this, Soo-hyun is confused about why the first years are greeting them. Hyundong replies that Suhayan is West Gangbuk High's new top dog, so it's only right for them to greet him as juniors. Suhayan tells them not to greet him and says it's a misunderstanding, and he's not going to be a top dog. He just wants to attend school in peace. Suhayan shouts at them to get out because he doesn't want to get mixed up with their people. Seeing Suhayan's behavior, they are upset, turn over, and start to leave. Kuja says to Suhayan that Hyundong used to follow Hajuan around earlier. He had a reason for following Hajuan, but now that someone as strong as Hajuan has lost to Suhayan, he has come looking for Suhayan, the new top dog at school. Suhayan asks Kuja what Hyundong's reason was. Kuja replies that it was to unite all of Gangbuk. Gangbuk is currently a battlefield. The 4 most powerful high schools are expanding their scope of influence. Hajuan was not interested in unification, but Hyundong feels differently. Together with Suhayan, he wants to unite all of Gangbuk. Suhayan thinks things were finally looking up at school with Hajuan gone. Suhayan wants to attend school without any trouble. But suddenly a display appears that a new quest is available for Suhayan. The system presents a quest that, to successfully complete, Suhayan has to complete 3 mini-quests. First, he has to win over the first year of West Gangbuk High. Suhayan refuses to complete the quest, but the system suggests that once a quest is abandoned, the quest window will never appear again, and all rewards will be forfeited. Suhayan thinks that if he fails the quest, all rewards will disappear, and things will go back to how they were. After thinking about it, Suhayan calls Hyundong. Hyundong turns back, and Suhayan says he was testing him. Hearing that, Hyundong becomes happy. Suhayan says that from that moment, he will take over West Gangbuk High. Hearing that, all 3 of them become excited to unite Gangbuk. We can see a tear in Suhayan's eye because he doesn't want to do it. He is forced to do it because of the quest. In the next scene, Suhayan sits at his table and thinks about how quests are always created whenever something like that happens. Then he sees his Peek at You card. He still has not tried that card. Suddenly, Chaerin sits in front of him and asks if he is upset or not and comments about him taking over West Gangbuk High. She also says she heard Suhayan is going to unite all of Gangbuk, but Suhayan refutes all the rumors. Suddenly, Suhayan gets an idea and looks toward Chaerin. Chaerin becomes uncomfortable and asks why he is staring at her. Then Suhayan activates the Peek at You card by saying, "Peek at you." But Chaerin has no idea why he is saying that, and she blushes. The system displays Suhayan's current status, showing that he is now peeking at Chaerin Beck. Suhayan can clearly see Chaerin's stats. Suhayan thinks that her stats are lower than expected. He thought Chaerin would be a better fighter. Chaerin is still blushing. Suhayan then wonders if he can use that ability on himself as well. To check, he again says, "Peek at you." Suddenly, his own stats appear in front of him. But then, Chaerin gives Suhayan a slap on the face because he kept looking at her and saying, "Peek at you." Chaerin then uses some bad words on Suhayan and leaves the classroom. Suhayan was not expecting much from that card, but it might turn out to be more useful than he thought. In the next scene, we see Suhayan and Kuja passing through a lobby with Hyundong and 2 other guys covering them. Suhayan asks them why they are doing that. Instead of giving a reply, Hyundong hands Suhayan an envelope with blood and says that it contains the money they collected from the other students that month. Suhayan asks why they are giving him that money, noting that the blood is from the first-year guy. Kuja takes the envelope and puts it into his vest. Suhayan suggests that they should not take that money. Seeing Suhayan's behavior, Hyundong predicts that the money is not enough and plans to increase the amount they are collecting from the students. Suhayan sees Hyundong's stats and thinks that he is totally a thug. Suhayan turns back and starts to leave the lobby, thinking that he should not get mixed up with someone like Hyundong. From behind, Hyundong tells him that he needs to attend his inauguration as the new leader of West Gangbuk High. Suhayan is confused, and suddenly a display appears with a new main quest available for Suhayan. The second phase of the main quest is to attend the leader's inauguration ceremony. Suddenly, he changes his mind with tears in his eyes and says he should attend the ceremony as the new leader of the school. Hearing that, Hyundong becomes happy. In the next scene, we see a group of other students, Suhayan and Kuja, in a classroom. First, all the guys bow and greet Suhayan. Suhayan stands up, and Hyundong pins a map of Korea, pointing out the 4 schools of Gangbuk. Hyundong tells Suhayan that Gangbuk is currently a war zone. The reason Gangbuk is in an all-out war is because Yohan Song, who had previously united all of Gangbuk, gave it all up, and without a leader in place, a war broke out. Hyundong explains about the schools. First, East Gangbuk High. They are a bunch of reckless bastards, and their leader is totally out of control. Rumor has it that he makes money by peddling people. Next, South Gangbuk High. They are the exact opposite of East High, a group of model students, and their leader is apparently a nice guy as well, but that group also runs a business. Hyundong says strictly to make sure West Gangbuk High doesn't get taken over by them. So Hyun asks, can't they just let them take over? Why do they need to unite Gangbuk in the first place? If they come to attack them, they can just call the police. Hyundong replies that it probably won't be possible. These guys are already quite suspicious of Suhayan. Rumors are spreading about Suhayan, calling him Tank Top Suhayan, the man who wears his tank top crisscrossed as he strikes down his enemies. Hearing that, Suhayan gets angry, stands up, and asks who spread those rumors. Hyundong smiles and replies that he did. Hearing that, Suhayan gets even angrier and tries to leave the classroom with Kuja, telling everyone not to follow him. Hyundong asks Suhayan about an upcoming Gangbuk conference, but Suhayan replies that he just wants to attend school in peace. In the next scene, we see Suhayan at home, watching TV and thinking about how he made the right decision to not protect West Gangbuk High. Suddenly, his sister comes home and scolds Suhayan about the rumors of Tank Top Suhayan, and asks why the seniors at school bow to her whenever they see her. Suhayan reassures her that he fixed things today and not to worry about it. His sister, Dahayan, tells him that it's still better than seeing him get bullied all the time and threatens Suhayan that if he goes to that Gangbuk conference, she will tell their mom. But Suhayan replies not to worry because he is free now and can be a normal student. In the next scene, we see an unknown person counting money in a karaoke bar. Another guy appears and tells him that Ha-Juin-gu was defeated and there is a new leader at West Gangbuk. Hearing that, the guy who was counting the money kicks out the one who just delivered the news and asks why he was hit. The money counter is Jae-ha Han, the top dog of East Gangbuk High. In another scene, we see a guy playing bowling in a bowling alley and talking about someone defeating Ha-Juin. We see Suk-kong, the top dog of South Gangbuk High. In the next scene, we see Hyundong smoking somewhere, writing a name in the sand, and expressing concern about the approaching Gangbuk conference. Suddenly, he gets a call, and it's Suhayan. Hyundong is excited because Suhayan is contacting him. Suhayan's quest's third phase has unlocked, and it requires him to attend the Gangbuk conference. On the call, Suhayan is crying and tells Hyundong that he is attending the conference because the reward is 11 cards, so Suhayan can't give up in the middle of a quest. In the next scene, we see Suhayan in a classroom, experimenting with his new Peek at You card. He finds it fun to see other people's stats and considers leveling up that ability. Suddenly, Suhayan peeks at Kuja and is surprised to find that Kuja has S-level potential. It is the day of the Gangbuk conference. Suhayan and Kuja come outside after school. Suhayan thanks Kuja for coming with him and mentions that he plans to just show up for the conference and make a run for it as soon as it's over. Suhayan is also worried because there are attendees from the east, south, and north, but Kuja reassures him that everything will be fine because there are many people right besides Suhayan. We see a bunch of guys bowing to Suhayan and greeting him. Suhayan is confused about why all the people are bowing down. Hyundong tells him that the Gangbuk conference is where the leaders of each high school in the Gangbuk district gather. Hyundong has readied their people in case something goes down. He mentions that these people are the best fighters in the first year, and they all volunteered to join Suhayan. Kuja tells everyone that it is for preparations, but Suhayan instructs them to go home because it will just be the three of them attending the Gangbuk conference. Hyundong sends them back home, and the three of them head out for the Gangbuk conference. On the other side, Jae-ha is beating up one guy. Jae-ha raises his hand to punch him, but suddenly another guy shows up and grabs his hand to stop him. Instead of stopping, Jae-ha kicks the guy who tried to stop him. One guy at the door informs Jae-ha that the Gangbuk conference will be starting soon, but it seems like Jae-ha doesn't want to go. In the next scene, we see Suhayan and the other two reach the construction site and wonder why the conference is happening at a place like that. Hyundong assures them that the conference is always held there. Suhayan enters the building and lifts up a curtain, revealing Suk-kong, the top dog of South Gangbuk High, with his guys. Suk Kong introduces himself as the South Gangbuk High representative. Suhayan comments about Suk's name, and all three from the west sit on a sofa, looking worried. Suhayan thinks that Suk seems like a good guy, but Hyundong suggests not to be fooled by his smile because Suk may seem nice, but it's very hard to know what he's thinking. Hyundong advises Suhayan not to let his guard down around Suk, as he may be the most dangerous one. On the other side, someone asks Suk about his impression of Suhayan. Suk replies that it has been a while since he made fun of someone's name and doesn't think Suhayan should have done such a thing. Suk then gestures towards Suhayan, and Suhayan wonders what Suk is talking about. Suhayan is concerned that even though he is at the conference, the quest is not yet complete. He looks around and thinks that to complete the quest, the other leaders from the other schools need to show up. He is also worried about when the leaders from North and East Gangbuk High will arrive. Suddenly, Jae-ha arrives with his lackeys and speaks rudely. Suk tells him that his behavior is rude because he thought they were friends. Seeing Jae-ha, Suhayan thinks he looks like a total thug. Suddenly, a quest is completed, and a message shows that Suhayan has received 11 cards. Suhayan becomes happy, stands up, and tries to leave the place with his guys. But suddenly, Jae-ha grabs Suhayan's neck with his hand and asks where he is going because he is only there because of Suhayan. Suk smiles at this. Jae-ha tells Suhayan that he heard he beat Ha-Juin-gu and challenges him to try to beat him too. Suhayan smirks at Jae-ha's challenge, confusing Jae-ha. Suhayan thinks that this is a typical quest trigger. If he reacts, a quest will pop up telling him to fight with Jae-ha, just like what happened with Ha-Juin. Suhayan doesn't want to fight Jae-ha, so to prevent such a quest from appearing, he will do nothing. On the other side, Suk's guys think that Suk is not at all afraid of Jae-ha Han. Suk gives a blank, unfocused expression on his face, probably looking for Jae-ha's weak points. They also talk about rumors that Tank Top Suhayan had even taken his family member as a hostage to get what he wanted. Suk tells his guys that he cannot waste this opportunity. After they fight and wear themselves out, they will attack both Suhayan and Jae-ha. Suhayan continues to stare at Jae-ha and thinks that a quest has not appeared yet, but at this rate, he will end up fighting him anyway. Suddenly, one of Jae-ha's guys stops him and tells him to hold on. Jae-ha loosens his grip on Suhayan and grabs the guy's face who gave him advice. Jae-ha asks how he dares to talk to him, but the guy replies that Suk Kong is there, and if Jae-ha fights Suhayan now, Suk Kong will take advantage of the situation. Jae-ha needs to calm down because he will have other chances to face off against Suhayan, but Suk Kong is the most dangerous person in that room. Jae-ha looks towards Suk, who raises his hand and greets him. Seeing the situation, Jae-ha turns around and leaves the building. Suk then claps and tells everyone that it's enough for today. If they drag it on any longer, it will just end up in a fight. Suk looks at a sofa and notes that no one from North Gangbuk High showed up. Suhayan, relieved that the conference is over and he did not get involved in a fight, makes fun of Suk's name and smiles. He suddenly uses his Peek at You card on Suk and Jae-ha, but Suhayan is surprised to receive a warning from the system that his Peek at You rank is too low to see higher-up stats. The next morning, Suhayan walks on a footpath, looking tired. He thinks about the failure of his Peek at You card and then stretches his face, wondering if this means the two of them are much stronger than he is. Suddenly, he sees a bunch of his guys in front of him, and one of them tells him that they know how it all went down at the Gangbuk High Conference. They heard that Suhayan took down Jae-ha with his Dragon Tiger Fist, and that the fight was over before Suk Kong could even intervene. Such rumors have spread all over the school. Suhayan asks them who spread these rumors. He suddenly remembers the main rumor spreader, Hyundong Lee. Suhayan looks toward the sky, surrounded by people who demand to see his Dragon Tiger Fist technique. In the next scene, we see Suhayan in bed, feeling achy and having a fever. He is in a nurse's office and thinks that he has been leaving school early too often lately, so he can't go home either. He turns in bed and thinks that with no one around, it is a chance to claim the cards. He has 1 gold card and 10 bronze cards from the last quest. He starts by claiming the gold card and receives a card named Card Master, which allows the user to combine or disassemble cards to receive cards of a higher or lower rank. He grabs the card and wonders where he can combine and disassemble materials and things. Then he claims all the bronze cards. There are many cards with different abilities. He uses the gold card to combine 2 bronze cards and gets 1 silver card, which becomes an attack card. With that silver card, he can throw a straight punch. He finds combining cards really fun. He thinks that while his mom said never to gamble, this isn't gambling. It gives him a strange sense of thrill. He then combines 4 cards and gets 2 silver cards, but they are just trigger cards. Suhayan thinks they are useless and that he needs an attack card. He looks at the card master card and decides to combine the 2 silver cards as well. He doesn't stop himself from combining the cards and closes his eyes. When he opens them, he sees that he has created 1 gold card. The gold card is a trigger card named Master Please, which triggers whenever something good happens to Suhayan or when he receives up to 5 hits. Seeing the card name, Suhayan blushes and thinks that it is a card for fighting. Suhayan then slaps his own face, wincing in pain, but nothing happens according to the Master Please card. He thinks it didn't trigger because he hit himself. Suhayan then examines the card and wonders if it is meant to let him assert dominance over others, but instead rewards him whenever others assert dominance over him. Suddenly, a screen pops up with a new main quest available for Suhayan. He becomes happy because he needs more cards to upgrade himself. The quest is to recruit 4 crew members, with a reward of 1 gold card. Suhayan looks at the screen and thinks that this quest is different from the ones he has received before. He immediately asks Kuja if he wants to join his crew. Kuja agrees, and Suhayan quickly gains 1 crew member. Hyundong suddenly appears and rushes towards Suhayan with medicine, asking if he is doing well. Suhayan replies that he is feeling much better and asks Hyundong if he wants to join his crew. Hearing this, Hyundong drops the medicine and looks at Suhayan, saying that he is finally assembling a crew to unite all of Gangbuk. Hyundong kneels down and formally greets Suhayan. Suhayan thinks that recruiting Hyundong might lead to problems, but Kuja and Suhayan suddenly ignore him and walk away in the other direction. In the next scene, Suhayan rests on a bench somewhere and thinks about whom he should recruit. He decides he needs members who are legitimate and strong. He thinks that he should look at people's stats and recruit those who are powerful. Suddenly, he remembers that he needs to test the card he received last time. Out of nowhere, Chaerin appears in front of Suhayan. Suhayan is shocked to see her there. They live in the same neighborhood. Upon seeing Suhayan, Chaerin turns to leave, but before she goes, Suhayan requests a favor from her. Suhayan approaches Chaerin and asks her to slap his face. He thinks that if Chaerin slaps him, the Master Please card will trigger. Chaerin blushes and is shocked. Suhayan tells her that something good will happen if she hits him. Chaerin lifts her hand and tries to hit him, but a bunch of guys who showed up earlier arrive on the scene. One of them tells Suhayan that they are there to avenge their brother Sankyol's end. Suhayan is confused about what they are talking about. Suddenly, a quest triggers, requiring Suhayan to fight and defeat a thug boss and his henchmen. In the tense moment, Suhayan assumes a fighting position and even memorizes their names. Among these guys, one muscular man steps up and introduces himself as Sankyol's older brother, Sanghyuk. Suhayan uses his Peek at You card on Sanghyuk and is shocked to see his stats. Compared to Suhayan's stats, Sanghyuk's are much higher, with superior strength, speed, and endurance. Suhayan retreats, wondering how he hasn't seen anyone at school ranked B for strength. Suddenly, Chaerin steps between them and asks Sanghyuk about their schools, telling them that ganging up on one person is foolish. However, the guys ignore Chaerin and gather around her. Seeing this, Suhayan rushes to save her, but Sanghyuk suddenly appears in his path and punches Suhayan's stomach. The sudden impact causes Suhayan to tremble. Sanghyuk calls him a loser. On the other side, Chaerin screams upon seeing Suhayan's condition, while one of the guys pinches her jacket. Despite this, Suhayan suddenly says that his stomach feels good. His Master Please card has triggered. Chaerin and the other guys are shocked by his reaction. Chaerin also blushes and calls him a masochist, causing the guys to become even angrier. Suddenly, one of the guys steps forward and hits Suhayan 4 more times, activating the card since it triggers something good when hit 5 times. Suhayan wonders if the card has triggered and, suddenly, a screen shows that one of his stats will increase at random. His strength increases from E to C rank. Suhayan swings a punch at the guy and knocks him down with just 1 strike. The others are scared, and Chaerin is surprised. Suhayan then tells Chaerin that he has something to confess. He feels good whenever he gets hit. Suhayan gains more confidence, realizing he can beat Sanghyuk. Sanghyuk smiles, takes off his jacket, and prepares for a fight. Suhayan also removes his top, ready for the battle. Suddenly, all the guys are running towards Suhayan. He throws a jab at one of them, knocking him out instantly. The others are shocked, as the guy Suhayan punched is now unconscious. They crowd around him, trying to wake him up, and glare at Suhayan with anger. Suhayan tells Chaerin to close her eyes. He then defeats all the guys and tells Chaerin that a girl like her shouldn't have to witness such violence. Seeing that all the guys are beaten up, the big guy starts clapping and says that it wasn't bad and that things are starting to get interesting for him. Suhayan assumes a fighting position, ready to face him. The big guy swings a punch towards Suhayan, but instead, Suhayan throws a straight punch at his face. Suhayan is shocked to find that his punch has no effect because his strength has decreased from C to E rank. He thinks this happened because he hasn't been punched for a while. The big guy then grabs Suhayan's hand and kicks him in the stomach. Suhayan thinks he needs 5 more hits to reactivate the card, but the big guy continues to punch him repeatedly in the face. Suhayan falls to the ground and asks for a timeout. He realizes that there is a special requirement he needs to meet to trigger the effect. The big guy comes close to hit him again, but Chaerin screams and runs towards Suhayan. As the big guy punches Suhayan's head, Chaerin screams and calls out Suhayan's name. Suddenly, the Master Please card activates, and Suhayan's strength increases back to C rank. With renewed power, Suhayan hits the big guy with full force, thanking Chaerin for calling his name. Suhayan then uses a healing bean and tells Chaerin that he feels ashamed about getting beaten up in front of a girl. He figures out that he needs to get beaten up and feel ashamed to meet the card's requirements and trigger the stat increase. The big guy grabs Suhayan's leg and calls him a half-decent boxer. He tries to lift Suhayan, but he can't because Suhayan uses a maximum capacity card. Seizing the opportunity, Suhayan throws an elbow at the big guy's back. Suhayan's weight and strength are boosted by the card, and he punches the big guy in the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Suhayan then punches him repeatedly in the face, his punches reaching a minus rank. The big guy is knocked out and defeated, and the side quest is completed. Suhayan receives the silver card and wonders what type of card it will be this time. The next day at school, Suhayan walks through the lobby, looking upset. He thinks about how the quest was fun but wonders why he's getting these quests. Suddenly, someone slaps him on the face. It's Chaerin. The slap triggers the Master Please card. Chaerin looks angry. Suhayan asks her what happened. Chaerin tells him that there are rumors going around that Suhayan and Chaerin are dating. In the lobby, a crowd of students is laughing and calling them lovers. Suhayan denies knowing anything about the rumors and insists he isn't spreading them. There are also rumors that they've had an indirect kiss and already have 3 kids. Suddenly, Hyundong appears with a bouquet and asks Chaerin if it's true that she fell for Suhayan after he saved her. Chaerin angrily denies all the rumors and tells Hyundong that she doesn't like Suhayan. Outside the school, a student accidentally collides with another student, who looks like Hajuan. In the next scene at East Gangbuk High, the big guy who was previously beaten by Suhayan is kneeling down with a bunch of other guys surrounding him. The big guy says he couldn't beat Suhayan. He explains that Suhayan pretends to be a weakling, and when his opponents let down their guard, he takes them down with a single hit. The big guy apologizes to Jae-ha Han, but Jae-ha tells him that he can't expect much from him. Jae-ha says he thinks the big guy belongs with them because they accepted his money a few times, but he's not even worth a beating. Jae-ha then grabs his cigarette and asks about the rumors. Standing up, Jae-ha says that if Suhayan wants to fight with him, he should pay him a visit. He tells his guys to clear his schedule for the rest of the day because he's going to teach Suhayan Kim a lesson. Jae-ha lights up his cigarette, and it is revealed that Jae-ha's speed is ranked S in stats. In the next scene, Suhayan claims the silver card he received earlier. It turns out to be a To the Moon card. In the East, Jae-ha talks with a hefty guy named Dizong Huang, who is ranked 14th in East Gangbuk High. Dizong asks Jae-ha to leave Suhayan to him, promising to tear him limb from limb and leave the pieces in front of their school statue for the vultures to pick at. Jae-ha glances at him and asks if he can manage that, especially after Dizong also defeated Haju and Gu. Dizong grabs his belly, slaps it, and assures Jae-ha that he can handle it. Jae-ha then orders him to go after Sohyun. On the other side, at West Gangbuk High, Sohyun is still examining the To the Moon card and thinks it's very handy. He considers disassembling it with the Master card but changes his mind, realizing he's becoming too addicted to disassembling cards. He also has other problems, such as recruiting crew members, which he needs to complete as part of his quest. He heads to the lobby but finds that his slipper is broken, still wondering how to find people with good stats. Suddenly, his slides completely break. Cha-Erin appears in front of him, and as Sohyun bends over to deal with his slippers, his head accidentally collides with Charon's chest. He has no idea who is standing in front of him and tries to look up and explain, but Cha-Erin responds with angry words and slaps him, refusing to listen to any excuses. Suddenly, Hajun appears from nowhere behind Sohyun. Sohyun looks up and sees Hajun, following him and expressing concern about not having seen him in a while. Sohyun asks Hajun if he wants to have breakfast, but Hajun replies that they are not really friends anymore. Sohyun then receives a side quest: recruit Hajun-gu as a crew member, with a reward of 1 silver card. Sohyun is shocked, wondering how he can recruit someone he fought against. After thinking for a while, Sohyun approaches Hajun again and asks him to join his crew, as he has no other options. However, Hajun does not respond and leaves. In another scene, Sohyun and Kuja are sitting at a bus stop, and Sohyun wonders why Hajun isn't responding. He can't even use the peek at you card on Hajun. Suddenly, a guy arrives, shouting Sohyun's name and saying something terrible has happened. Some East Gangbuk thugs have taken Hyundong. Sohyun smiles and tells the guy to call the police, noting that he always seems to forget to contact law enforcement for help. Sohyun declines to help Hyundong and boards the bus. The bus starts moving, and someone notices it, appearing to be Hajun. On the bus, Kuja asks Sohyun if it's really okay not to help Hyundong. Sohyun replies that he's not going to help. He opens a window on the bus, thinking that if there was a quest, he doesn't want to show up wherever they have taken Hyundong. Since Sohyun doesn't receive any quest, there seems to be no need to get involved. Somewhere, Hyundong is being beaten by East Gangbuk thugs. One of the guys asks him if, like Hajun, he must serve anyone who defeats Sohyun. Hyundong raises his head and replies that he will have no other master than Sohyun. He tells everyone that Sohyun will not come to save him, so they should do whatever they want. Dizong Huang sits on a box and, hearing this, picks up a steel rod. He approaches Hyundong, places the rod on his neck, and tells him to hit him. Hyundong grabs the rod and, using all his strength, hits Dizong in the belly. However, he is shocked to find that it doesn't hurt Dizong at all. Another thug kicks Hyundong in the stomach, causing him to fall to the ground. He is told that Dizong, ranked 14th in East Gangbuk High, is their strongest fighter. Hyundong, lying on the ground, loses all hope as another thug approaches with a rod, ready to attack him. Hyundong closes his eyes, but suddenly Sohyun appears and throws a straight punch at the thug. Hyundong and the thugs are shocked to see Sohyun. Sohyun yells at Hyundong not to irritate him all the time. He looks at the remaining thugs and uses the peek at you card, noting that he can handle them, but Dizong's endurance is ranked A. Dizong approaches Sohyun and asks if he's ready to be kicked out. Sohyun looked at Dizong and worried about the significant height difference. He thought he might be able to take him down by attacking his face. Dizong then pulled off his shirt, and his lackeys suggested that in a situation like this, weaker fighters should attack first. However, Dizong replied that there was no need for the rest of them to waste their energy. He then placed his shirt on someone's face. Sohyun realized that Dizong wanted to fight him one-on-one. Sohyun approached him and threw a jab at his belly, followed by a straight punch, but both Dizong's lackeys and Hyundong were surprised to see that there was no effect on Dizong. Sohyun continued to punch Dizong's belly repeatedly. He concluded that Dizong's massive belly was absorbing all the damage, which explained his A-ranked endurance. Sohyun had no choice but to aim for his face. Suddenly, Dizong punched Sohyun's stomach with such force that it lifted him off the ground and caused him to fall. The weight difference between them was immense. Sohyun then assessed his situation and said that if weight was the problem, he had a solution. He had a card that allowed him to disregard weight classes. He grabbed Dizong's belly and used the maximum capacity card, but an alert appeared, stating that the card could not be used because maximum capacity could only be used once per day and there was an hour of cooldown remaining. Dizong then grabbed Sohayan by the neck, lifted him up, and threw him to the ground, causing his lackeys to laugh. Dizong then asked if Sohayan was really the top dog of West Gangbuk High, noting that he looked so weak trying to challenge him. Dizong left Sohayan with the rest of his lackeys, deciding that it was a waste of energy to deal with Sohayan himself. He instructed his lackeys to tell everyone that they were the ones who took Sohayan down. Sohayan, lying on the ground, saw Hyundong approaching and heard him say that if they wanted to beat Sohayan, they would have to face him first. One of Dizong's lackeys swung a baseball bat at Hyundong but was suddenly kicked aside by Hajuan. Hyundong was surprised to see the former top dog of the West appear. Hajuan then looked at Sohayan and asked about the invitation to join his crew he had mentioned at school. Sohayan replied that he just thought Hajuan would be a reliable person to have around. Hajuan then took off his shirt, saying that Sohayan was weird, and decided to take on Dizong's lackeys. He agreed to join Sohayan's crew. A screen appeared, indicating that Hajuan had joined as a new crew member and that a side quest had been completed. A glow surrounded Sohayan, and he received a silver card. On the other side, Hajuan approached Dizong. Dizong remarked that it was their first meeting, but Hajuan said he wasn't the one who would be fighting. We then see Sohayan taking off his top and using a healing beam to restore his stamina. He also received a side quest to execute a combo using various cards to earn a gold card. Dizong then punched Sohayan in the face, triggering the Master Please card. He kicked Sohayan in the stomach and hit him repeatedly in the face, but Sohayan felt good due to the card's effects. After receiving 5 hits, a screen appeared indicating that one of Sohayan's stats would increase at random. His strength increased from E to C rank. Sohayan then threw a straight punch at Dizong's belly, and due to the increase in his strength, the punch was effective. He pushed Dizong back a few inches and actually caused some damage. Dizong and his lackeys, as well as Hyundong and Hajuan, were all surprised. Sohayan leaped into the air and used the To the Moon card, which he had received earlier. Although he wasn't fully aware of the card's effects, he realized it allowed him to perform a high-standing vertical jump. Dizong, not afraid, thought he could just grab Sohayan and throw him down, but in midair, Sohayan suddenly changed his move. He used the spinning back kick attack from the silver card he had recently received. Sohayan landed on Dizong and delivered the spinning back kick to his face. Dizong's face was left bleeding from the kick, and he fell to the ground, unconscious. Seeing this, all Dizong's lackeys were frightened, and Hajuan was surprised by Sohayan's abilities. Sohayan then stretched his top, completed his side quest, and received a gold card. Sohayan then claimed the card, but this time he had the option to choose one of the following 2 cards. Sohayan was confused about which card was better. On the other side, Dizong's lackeys tried to wake him up, but he remained unconscious. Hajuan arrived and told them to take Dizong out of there. Sohayan then went home, opened the door and looked exhausted and tired. He thought that he had ended up fighting again and decided it was best to go straight to his room and rest. As he entered his room, he heard some music and saw his sister dancing, but he ignored her and went to bed. He lay on his bed and remarked that the TikTok dance challenge was nonsense. He then looked at the 2 gold cards and thought about which one he should pick. The first card was Eye for Cards, which allowed the user to preview the card they would be awarded next. The second card was Fateful Meeting, which would bring the highest ranking card available to meet Sohayan. Sohayan wondered what the highest ranking card would be and if it would answer all his questions before he fell asleep. On the other side, at East Gangbuk High, Dizong was standing in front of some higher-ups. The higher-ups told him not to show his face around the school anymore. Suddenly, Jaeha arrived and asked what was going on. He saw Dizong and told him that he had come to school today. Dizong bowed his knee and apologized, explaining that Hajuan Gu had unexpectedly shown up and asked for one more chance. Jaeha approached him and raised his hand as if he were about to hit him. At West Gangbuk High, Sohayan thanked Hajuan for his help and asked why he had come to save him. He remarked that if Hajuan had not been there, they would have been in serious trouble. They were in a washroom, and Hajuan asked Sohayan why he was saying that. Sohayan said he was even stronger than he had thought. As they walked through the lobby, Sohayan thanked Hajuan again for becoming a part of his crew. Hajun replied that he was just sticking around for a little while to see where things went from there. Suhayan then expressed concern about East Gangbuk High and asked Hajun what he thought Jae-ha would do next. Hajun warned Suhayan to watch out for Jae-ha, as he was not the idiot he seemed to be. People who didn't know Jae-ha thought he was just a common thug, but they were mistaken. Meanwhile, Jae-ha was asking Dizong how Suhayan fought and how he spoke. Dizong was surprised, thinking that Jae-ha was not going to hit him. Jae-ha asked many questions, but Dizong did not answer. Jae-ha stood up and kicked Dizong in the belly, knocking him out with a single blow. Jae-ha then lit up a cigarette and remarked that Dizong had come close to being knocked out, but had managed a sudden recovery and thrown a fancy kick. Jae-ha's stats showed an A+ in intelligence. At East Gangbuk High, all the guys congratulated Suhayan, but he said there was no need for congratulations. Hyundong then told him that his nickname had been updated to Tank Top Suhayan, the cannibal, earned because he defeated Dizong in battle. Dizong Huang, being only the 14th strongest fighter in East Gangbuk, was too low-ranked to oversee any territory. If he had any territory, it would have been in the West. The 13th strongest or higher fighters had territories they oversaw, so it would be time for the West to expand its territory as well. But Suhayan wasn't listening to Hyundong and thought that, at this rate, he might end up uniting all of Gangbuk, all because of that quest. He questioned why those quests kept appearing and had many questions in his mind. Suhayan then looked at the gold cards, swung them in the air, and wondered why he had to complete quests for the rest of his life without knowing the reason. He wanted to know where these quests were coming from. He chose the Fateful Meeting card and needed to meet the Challenger card that apparently wanted to meet him. A display asked if he would like to use the Fateful Meeting card. Suhayan agreed and used the card. Suddenly, a flash from his eyesight made everyone in his classroom disappear, and he was shocked to see where everyone had gone. He stood up in a panic, ran to the school's lobby, and called out everyone's names, but no one was there. He took the stairs down and went outside the school. It was very bright outside, so he shielded his eyes with his hand. After walking some distance, he saw a huge, brighter card that was 10 times his size in front of him. The card said it was sure Suhayan had many questions and invited him to ask anything he wanted. The card promised to address everything Suhayan was curious about. Suhayan then spoke loudly, asking why he was receiving these quests and who was giving them. The card replied that it would provide all the answers. The card said that it would connect Suhayan to the people behind it. Suddenly, a human voice came from the card and asked if he was Suhayan. The voice noted that he had drawn the Fateful Meeting card and was very lucky. Suhayan asked if that meant someone else was also completing these quests, but the voice replied that he need not worry, as whatever he was concerned about would not come to pass. The voice then stated that the meeting was premature, and they did not yet know if Suhayan was worthy of the task. Confused, Suhayan asked what the final quest was. The voice said that Suhayan had many questions but could not be trusted yet. First, he needed to show what he was capable of by uniting East and South Gangbuk High, after which they would be able to place their faith in him. Suhayan asked if uniting meant he had to beat more people. The voice asked if he meant to give up. Suhayan reflected on how his eyesight had improved, he had grown taller, and he was no longer bullied. His life was changing, but those were only gold cards. Would he be satisfied with these alone? Higher cards like Diamond, Master, and Challenger also existed. Was he not curious to see what they could offer? Suddenly, Suhayan woke up and noticed that everyone was grabbing him and crying. Hyundong said that he had closed his eyes and had not said anything, so most people assumed he had fallen asleep. Under Kuja's leadership, they were discussing having matching uniforms made. Hyundong asked if Suhayan was feeling tired and if they should wrap up for the day. Suhayan agreed. He noticed that when he used the Fateful Meeting card, it looked to others like he had fallen asleep. Suhayan then left the classroom. Hyundong suggested he get some rest and mentioned that he had a whole family to support. Suhayan countered that he could see why all those rumors had spread. He wondered if the gold card alone made him taller and improved his eyesight, what could other cards capable of much more offer him? Suhayan turned back, called Hyundong, gave him a thumbs up, and said he was now interested in uniting Gangbuk. Hyundong said he would pass on Suhayan's message to all the other high schools in Gangbuk. Outside the school, Suhayan noticed that whenever he used the Peek at You card on someone, that person's mood changed. A display then congratulated Sohayan because his Peek at You had reached E rank. He was excited to use the leveled up Peek at You card. He looked behind and saw Chaerin and used it on her. He was shocked to see the display change to a stat bar, which now showed people's weight. Passing through a narrow space between two buildings, he spotted a bunch of cards. He thought he had too many cards and wondered if having a few more, like the maximum capacity card, would be enough to unite East and South Gangbuk High. He thought he needed more attack cards. He wasn't sure about Suk, but Jaeha Han was scary. Until he got stronger, he needed to avoid Jaeha. Suddenly, he looked up and saw Jaeha in front of him. Sohayan was shocked to see Jaeha suddenly appear. Jaeha didn't waste any time and kicked Sohayan, causing him to fall to the ground. Sohayan noticed how strong Jaeha's kick was. Jaeha then pulled out his jacket. Sohayan took a healing bean, but Jaeha approached him and tried to kick him again. Sohayan dodged and attempted to run away. He took off his bag and got into a fighting position. Jaeha asked how Sohayan had managed to beat Dizong. Sohayan didn't waste any time and used the Peek at You card on Jaeha. He was shocked to see that all Jaeha's stats were very high. Sohayan was afraid but noticed a side quest appear. Fight and defeat Jaeha Han to receive 1 platinum card. The quest also had a hidden condition. He approached Jaeha and suggested they fight another day, stating that it wouldn't make sense to beat him there without anyone around to witness it. It was a battle between West and East Gangbuk High, and he really wanted it to happen in a dark alleyway. Jaeha looked into Sohayan's eyes and asked if he was worried he might lose if they fought. Sohayan picked up his bag from the ground and assured Jaeha not to worry. He would be in touch. Seeing the situation, Jaeha turned and walked away, saying he would see Sohayan later. Suddenly, Sohayan used the moon card from behind Jaeha, activated the maximum capacity card, and threw a spinning kick at Jaeha. Jaeha dodged the attack and responded by kicking Sohayan's stomach in mid-air. Afterward, Jaeha ran toward him and kicked him in the face as well. Sohayan was knocked out in just 2 kicks. Jaeha commented that Sohayan's steps were uncoordinated, but that his technique wasn't half bad. Sohayan failed the side quest, but the hidden condition was achieved. His first defeat against an unbeatable opponent was accomplished, and he received a diamond card for unlocking the hidden achievement. After some time, we see Sohayan somewhere, and he opens his eyes to see Hyundong grabbing his hand and asking if he is alright. Sohayan finds himself on a table and asks Hyundong where he is. Hyundong replies that he found Sohayan passed out in the alley and brought him there. He also heard that Sohayan fought with Jaeha Han. Hyundong says that he treated Sohayan's injuries and mentioned that he has been studying medicine in his spare time to be of service. Sohayan reflects that it was the first time he felt such a huge gap between himself and his opponent. He thinks that maybe strength refers to an individual's total attack power. Hajuin then arrives and tells Sohayan that he was lucky and should be thankful that things didn't go worse. Sohayan looks at Hajuin and uses the Peek at You ability on him, discovering that Hajuin's stats are similar to Jaeha's. Hajuin's strength is also ranked S, meaning they are almost on the same level. Sohayan asks Hajuin why he was helping him, noting that Hajuin seemed to go easy on him during their fight and even agreed to join his crew. Hajuin replies straightforwardly that Sohayan is unusual and he has never seen someone like him before, which intrigued him a little. Hajuin then leaves the classroom, saying that he never said he would work with Sohayan or anything like that. Sohayan tells Hyundong he can leave, and Hyundong wishes him a speedy recovery. Sohayan thanks Hyundong for his concern. After everyone leaves the classroom, Sohayan looks at the diamond card. He claims the card and sees that he received a summon card named Copy Cloud. On the other side, at East Gangbuk High, a meeting is held, and Jaeha arrives. All his guys bow to him, and someone asks about the fight with Sohayan. Jaeha replies that if he had lost, he wouldn't even show his face, but since he was there, Sohayan was weaker than he thought. He declares that West Gangbuk High is now theirs. Jaeha then calls Doyeok and tells him to round up the boys and wrap things up with West Gangbuk. He advises Doyeok not to worry about Sohayan but to be cautious of Hajuin, as it will be tough to deal with him. Jaeha also tells him to take Jeon Park with him, as Jeon will be able to take Hajuin down. Jaeha instructs Doyeok to take a break from his little experiments and come with him. From now on, Jaeha plans to focus on South Gangbuk High. He is considering that if they take both West and South Gangbuk High, they will then go after the guy at North Gangbuk High. There is no involvement from North Gangbuk High at this point. The next day, at Soo-hyun's home, his sister grabs his hand and begs him to stay in his room because her friends are coming over. She is worried that Soo-hyun might be uncomfortable with her friends in the house. Soo-hyun jokes that he might come out and tell one of her friends that he likes them. He then goes to his room and looks at the Copy Cloud card. Soo-hyun is very curious to use the card. The card instructs him to summon it in a safe location. He reads the description, which states that the card allows the user to summon clouds that can be copied and pasted. Soo-hyun summons the Copy Cloud, and a flash appears in front of him as a blue card pops up from nowhere. His sister opens the door and her two friends come in. One of her friends brings food, and they all chat about TikTok. The conversation shifts to Soo-hyun, and one friend asks if no one else is home. Da-hyun, Soo-hyun's sister, replies that her brother is at home. That friend calls Da-hyun a blade of frost, while another friend looks towards Soo-hyun's room. In Soo-hyun's room, the cloud asks Soo-hyun who he is. Soo-hyun is surprised that the cloud can speak and wonders what he would use it for and if it is invisible to others. A display suggests activating copy mode to copy surrounding objects. Soo-hyun activates copy mode, and a warning appears that once copy mode is activated, the cloud will automatically copy surrounding human objects. Suddenly, his sister opens the door and asks him for an autograph. The copy cloud grabs his sister, turns red, and begins copying Da-hyun Kim's process. To successfully copy Soo-hyun, the subject cannot move during the copying process. After the completion of the copying process, Da-hyun falls to the ground, and Soo-hyun asks her if she is okay. His sister says it felt like her body was suddenly tied up with something. She thinks their house might be haunted. Da-hyun then discusses the event with her friends, but they don't believe her and say ghosts are not real. Soo-hyun, in his room, is holding the cloud and thinking about what kind of card it is, wondering what the point is of copying a person. A display suggests that Soo-hyun can now paste Da-hyun Kim. He proceeds to paste, and the cloud turns into a human figure, perfectly resembling Da-hyun after some time. Soo-hyun is shocked to see this. He opens the door and sees the real Da-hyun talking with her friends, while a copy of her is in his room. Soo-hyun then quietly closes the door. He raises his finger toward the copy, touches her nose, and realizes that the copy is visible to others as well. The copy suddenly slaps him in the face due to his rude behavior, and the copy cloud decides to return to the card. At school, Soo-hyun feels depressed, resting his head on the table and pondering what to do with the copy. Having two sisters would only end up annoying him twice as much. He thinks about the card when Hyundong suddenly appears in front of him. Seeing his face, Soo-hyun feels afraid and suggests that he should consider getting an eyebrow tattoo or something. Hyundong tells him that he has terrible news. East Gangbuk High is making their move. Jae-ha-han has sent a group of his people to take over West Gangbuk High. The leader of the group is Jeon Park, ranked 5th at East Gangbuk High. He is infamous around these parts as an incredibly strong fighter. The vice leader is Do-yak Kong, ranked 13th, who is stronger than Dizong Huang. The two lackeys accompanying them are also seasoned fighters. Currently, Soo-hyun does not have anyone at West Gangbuk capable of facing off against these guys. If Soo-hyun's boys were to fight this group in their current state, there would be a 0% chance of defeating them. Soo-hyun's face changes suddenly as he considers what he should do in this situation. He has some attack cards, but he has no idea how to react. He grabs his hair and sits on a footpath, thinking there is no way he can become stronger quickly. Suddenly, Ha-jun approaches and asks what he is doing there if he doesn't even smoke. Soo-hyun then smiles and says he has a favor to ask, but Ha-jun declines immediately, even before Soo-hyun can say a word. Soo-hyun then comes up with an idea and says to Ha-jun that it's fine. Then, on the east side, we see Do-yak visiting Jeon. The room is filled with unconscious guys. Do-yak asks if Jeon is experimenting or something, but Jeon replies that he wouldn't call it an experiment. Jeon says they are going to take down West Gangbuk. He mentions that Do-yak shouldn't handle the mess himself, as Jae-ha just loves to create more work for everyone. Do-yak then gives Jeon his jacket, and Jeon says they are going right now. On the other side, Soo-hyun is at a terrace of a school, with Ha-jun in front of him. Suhayan throws a jab and his jab skill level increases. However, this isn't Hajuin. It is a copy cloud. Suhayan thanks the copy cloud for increasing his level. He tells the copy cloud that it doesn't need to let him hit it, just to block his punches. Suhayan now has a training dummy. We see that a tattoo appears on the copy's body parts. Suhayan attacks the cloud simultaneously, but the cloud blocks his attacks. A display shows that due to the strength of Suhayan's opponent, his skill level will increase sharply. His strength punch level also increases. Suhayan smiles and thinks that this is the power of a diamond card. He also performs a spinning back kick. After some time of training, his skill levels have increased further. Now, his straight punches are at D rank.